Well, hi guys. Welcome everybody to another unboxing video here on my channel. And today we have something which I am excited about because it is something that is better than the original. Does that make sense? Although I guess it might be controversial to actually qualify what the original is because it's not exactly clear, uh, and we'll get into that a little bit here as I get this open. All right, so here, for those of you that already know, this is a Pagani design. So, is it an homage? Is it not an homage? Let's find out. All right, so pretty standard packaging, and looks like we have a tool here, obviously for removing links from the bracelet, push pin links, I should think. Protective bit here, and of course their patented cleaning cloth, full size, so that's pretty nice. And here we are. Dun dun dun. So what is this? Well, this is the PD-1701. PD-1701. Is it Mission to Mars? Is it the Omega Speedmaster Alaska project? Well, it's kind of a little bit of both, isn't it? Because it's very similar to the Omega Speedmaster Alaska project, without the outer case that comes with that watch. There are a couple different case variations of that Alaska project going all the way back to the first ones, but the more recent Alaska project Speedies have the same kind of case design. Or is this best described as a stainless steel version of the MoonSwatch mission to Mars? Well, that's why I got it, because it's in my name, right? I'm a Martian, and this is basically a stainless steel version of the Omega MoonSwatch. But this is better in every way and a lot cheaper. If anybody knows anything about Pagani design, they know it's a lot cheaper. So this is basically a chronograph with a Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz movement. Obviously, we got quartz timekeeping, but a mechanical chronograph movement. So that means that we have a sweeping chronograph hand and also a flyback mechanism. So there's the chronograph in action. And we stop it, and then you'll see, it flies back right to the 12 o'clock. Instead of going clockwise, it goes anti-clockwise. We have a sapphire crystal and sapphire bezel. So we have a tachymeter scale on the bezel, which does not move, which is kind of normal for a tachymeter. But this is the version 5 of the PD-1701. It features this really nice white dial that also has sort of a silver metallic flake undertone to it, which this camera is not doing any justice. But believe me when I tell you, we have those sort of recessed subdial indices. At the 6 o'clock, we have the small seconds register. And at the 9 o'clock, we have a 60-minute elapsed time when we run the chronograph. And we have a 24-hour clock at the 3 o'clock, just letting us know basically if it's day or night. This is a really beautiful watch for the price. And the VK63 movement, I think, is superior to the ETA that is inside the MoonSwatch. And hello, sapphire stainless steel. It's not even close. I've got plastic here on the bracelet, so it's a little bit difficult for us to appreciate. We got most of the clasp is milled, and then we have a punched clasp for the housing with Pagani design branding there on it. little bit hard to see because of the light. It looks like we have 3 micro adjust holes there. Case size is reportedly 40 millimeters with 13 millimeter thickness, right? That includes the crystal, which is slightly raised. We got a beveled edge. This is a domed crystal too. This is not a flat crystal. See if I can get it there. Right, we've got some brushing on the side of the case, and we've got polishing on the top of the case, so that's nice, that little distinction there. A lot of the watches you buy at a lower price point, they tend to be fairly bland when it comes to the case finishing, favoring sort of a satin finish, I should think, on most of the watches that you would buy at this price point. However, that is not the case here. Now, it looks like we also have an extension, although I'm not sure how to actuate it. Looks like there's an extension in there, if you can see that. But I could be wrong. I'm not exactly sure how to actuate that. I want to get a better look at it. Now, on the case back, we've got this interesting little rocket flying above some heavenly body. Obviously, rockets don't fly to their destination, so I don't know if that's supposed to be Earth below us, or if that's just some weirdly shaped spacecraft that appears like a rocket that is flying to a destination, which in my opinion would have to be Mars, right? I mean, this is... So let's see what I say, 100 meters of water resistance. We have what appears to be a screw-down crown on the version 5. Yep, it is screw-down. Pushers obviously are not, so it's always a bit dicey when you would to go swimming with a chronograph that does not have some means to insulate or protect from accidentally pushing the chronograph functions. I'm not sure how much swimming I would do in a watch like this, given that I do have watches that are far superior to the task. All right, let's see if I can remove this plastic so we can get a look at the bracelet. Now, I've seen on some other reviews of this particular watch people making a complaint about the bracelet being a bit flimsy feeling. And I do concede that it does feel thin, even though these are solid links. It does feel rather, I should say, light and inconsequential. But they are solid links, and that just means, it's obviously not a whole lot of weight going on there. Looks like we've got protective plastic on the case back as well. Screw down case back with a fairly standard tool that you would use to unscrew that for swapping out the battery. I think the battery life is probably at a minimum 3 years, but I'll be honest, I didn't research that. Mecha quartz movements generally have a pretty good battery life to it, and that even assumes that you would use the chronograph function for up to an hour a day, so I should think that the lifespan of a battery will certainly last longer than that, providing there are no hiccups in the function of the movement itself. So yeah, I was really anxious to be a fanboy of the Omega MoonSwatch project. I had watched a couple of videos in the days that they had been released to the world, and I think on, I want to say Jenny's channel, the German watch review, I think she erroneously said that the claim was that 70% of that watch was made by Omega and 30% by Swatch, and also that the movement was Omega, even though it was a quartz movement. And of course, that turned out not to be the case at all. It is basically an entirely Swatch product with an ETA movement. And of course, I wouldn't be the first or the 1001st person on YouTube to complain about the quality of the Omega MoonSwatch and all of its various iterations. Now, Pagani Design is selling a variety. I think I counted 11 different distinct watches within this product range that they're selling of the PD-1701. And other colorways of this do feature a date complication at the 430 position, I believe. This watch does not feature a date complication. I'm not altogether, put off by that because I have a number of watches that do not feature a date complication, and I have a number that do. Speaking of which, today, a little quick wristwatch check. I am wearing my modded Casio G-Shock GM-2100-1 ADR with the Casio Oak SKX mod that I put together in my last rather lengthy video. All right, so I think I've covered all the bases with this. We've got a sapphire crystal with a sapphire bezel. That's my first sapphire bezel. We've got a 316 stainless steel case and case back. We've got a really superior dial, I think. We've got, there is obviously some circular lines that distinguish the features of the subdial, which is really nice. We've got those sort of patented rocket indices there in the subdial. And this is supposed to feature C3 Luminova. I don't think it's going to be too much to write home about. It is green C3 Luminova. And I'm just charging it here. I'm not sure how much we'll see it here in the light. But we can see a little bit of it, right? So the indices and the hands, including those red subdial hands. So altogether not that impressive in terms of lume, but as everybody else says, for the price, what are you going to do? Let's put it on the wrist and see what we got. Yeah, I really do like this. This modded, this sort of Casio, but I have to say, the longer I own it, the more I can't shake the fact that there's just something not right about the overall proportions. It looks really good when you see it and think about it, and then you put it together and you start wearing it and you're like, yeah, no, it's not really the same effect as if you had like a Royal Oak offshore. It just doesn't seem to, but it is a nice thing. Altogether, it is a really quality piece of kit, and I think my complaints are personal observation and probably are not borne out by any facts. Okay, so obviously I'll have to remove some links on my 7.5-inch wrist, but there we have. That's why I wore this shirt, to sort of celebrate receiving this watch. So yeah, Mission to Mars, Alaska Project, I don't know. I think it's Mission to Mars, in my opinion, and I think it's superior to what Omega and Swatch put out a year or so ago. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming out. I look forward to doing another unboxing video here shortly with a couple more watches that are on their way. Cheers.